Yeah, I mean, we finished with 13 turnovers, had 8 the other night, so I still think we're doing well relatively in that category. I just think when we get to our spacing quickly and recognize the early offense opportunity, it gives us, clear advantages because of the guys that we have. And I thought tonight we were very intentional about the way we were screening versus the particular coverages, and we were able to take advantage of that.
What allowed Jaylen and Kristaps to combine for some of those back cuts, some of the high creation from Kristaps in this one? Was that a plan going into this?
I mean, that's just their two-man action. Like I said, when we get to that spacing of those guys on the same side of the floor, there's options that we have there, and so it's fighting to get to that. It's creating that out of your calls, and so they did a good job of just playing off of each other. And KP has the ability to make everybody around him better, and I thought Jaylen did a great job of just his reads, especially in that third quarter.
When it felt like you guys were punishing them with the Porzingis pick and roll, especially against Pirtle, what did you think was the key to that success?
First, his screening. So he was able to help our pick and roll ball handler get some separation away from the screen, and they weren't varying at first. And so we were able to throw back and get into a closeout and kind of create just a second side action. Once they started varying, we were able to get their bigs away from the rim, and that's where we were able to either give it to him in the post, or we were able to drive it without any rim protection.
Looked like the Raptors bench wasn't too happy with you after the challenge. What did they express to you, and what was your response there?
They just thought that it was, I don't know if it was like disrespectful or cheap to challenge in that situation. I don't really agree or disagree. I think at the end of the day, my responsibility is to my players first. And, having respect for the game, we've been in that situation before where we don't shoot the last shot. We let the clock go out. We do that all the time. But with 3.5 minutes to go, when you have a group of guys that check in and they're playing as hard as they can, I think it's my responsibility to my players first. And it was a clear opportunity for me to empower the players, let them know that I'm coaching you. And those minutes to me are just as important as the start of the game. And that's what I told my players, and I'll always put them first.
Joe, back to the Jaylen Brown KP tandem. Those guys lead the team in assists of any tandem, or they're close to the top. I know they were leading heading into this game. Has that been something that they have worked on specifically, or has it just come naturally, that two-man game between the two?
No, we work on it. We have a few set plays where those two guys are involved, and those two guys do a good job of working their reads every single day.
And then in the second quarter, there was a play where Tatum got called for foul on Siakam, and he was visibly upset at it. And he went down the other end, and he drew the same foul on Siakam. What's that sort of attack mindset he has where instead of, complaining or getting mad, he uses it to, channel his aggressiveness?
Yeah, no, I think that's been a strength of our team this year, right, is our ability to not allow things that aren't going our way to affect our, our execution and our mindset. And so I think that's an area where Jason's really grown in, and he's using that energy towards, the physicality and the execution on both ends of the floor. And, our team has done a good job of that this year as well.
Joe, how do you get across the message that some of your guys, because of your depth, don't have to do as much as they've done in the past, as much scoring, as much, usage? Like, how do you get that? Because they want to get their numbers. They want to, they like numbers. Mm-hmm. How do you get across to them, hey, with the depth, it might not be your night, or, you don't have to do as much?
Yeah. No, I think it's just a constant conversation. I don't know that it's ever going to be perfect in that, but I think you have to have those conversations. And what we have to do as a staff and as an organization is point out what success looks like for our team and what success looks like for the individuals on our team when it comes to winning. And so obviously there's a worldly success towards points and assists, but we have to be able to point out all the areas that other people don't notice that lead to winning. And so, for example, like Peyton's going through a tough stretch shooting, but he's the highest point guard, has the highest point guard crash rate in the NBA. That gets us extra possessions. That's just as important as his scoring. Tatum has 15 potential assists. Jaylen has his assist when it comes to KP. KP only took 4 shots last game, but his screening in the first half is what allowed the other guys to get going. And so we have to be really intentional about what success looks like, and it's going to look different every night.
But like spacing and screening, that gets you going.
No, it does. That's like the most important thing. It's beautiful. Yes.
For players, is that how do you get them to do that?
Yeah. I think it's just like you have to do it to win. Like we don't really have a choice. and we all say that we want to win. And when it comes down to it, like, we have to be able to do those things. And credit to our guys because they have the open-mindedness and the trust in each other. You know, it was a perfect example of, like, there was a situation last game where I think Drew missed KP on an open shot, and then 2 plays later, KP missed Drew. And so, like, you have to trust the intentions of our team aren't selfish. We're all just trying to do a really good job, and then you have to show grace to each other that, like, we're not going to be perfect. And as long as we can find that balance of, like, the trust and the grace in each other, then we know we all want to win, and we know we all care about each other.
In first half, KP was setting pretty rock-solid screens. I think you wanted us to ask about them,
Yes,
so I
yes,
figured I'd
yes.
ask about it. I think on one of them, he didn't even really pop a roll. He just wanted to set the
Yeah.
screen. So how has he been taking to coaching on some of those little things?
Nah, man, his open-mindedness towards being coached is way far exceeded my expectations, and his ability to just, what can I do to make our team get better? And, like, he's such a unique player because, like, he has the ability to force 2-on-1s in different situations. And so, you know, those screens that he was setting were getting JT and JB and our guys downhill, and that forced them to veer, and that forced them to bring their rim protection away, which allowed us to get 60 points in the paint. And so there's an effect there that goes on when guys start doing all those little things. And, you know, he's very open-minded to being coached in that, and we're grateful for that. All our guys are.
And then end of games, you guys haven't really been letting those leads shrink back down. A lot of teams end up doing that. So how does that, one, pay dividends for those guys? Would they get opportunity earlier in games? And I guess how important is it for the team overall just to not let those leads shrink late?
I mean, it's just important to figure out why teams give up leads. And they give up leads because they stop competing on the defensive end. And tonight you saw Al up 20, 25 points competing at a high level and, like, making multiple effort plays. And so, he sets the standard for situations like that. And then you have to know that it's turnovers, it's shot selection, it's offensive rebounds, and it's fouls. And if you can, understand the criteria of what closing out a game looks like, then that, works in your favor.
You guys lead the association in points differential. How have you guys been able to really establish a good offensive rhythm this early in the season with the new faces on the starting lineup?
Yeah, I think it starts defensively. I think, each side of the ball is affected by the other side, and right now we have a bunch of guys that are really bought into wanting to compete at a high level on defense, which allows us to get stops, get out in transition, force cross matches, and then when you're cross matched, you're able to make easier plays for each other. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.